Well, it looks like this is a very interesting story because I'm also going to take it as an omen that's going to portend global events. 12-year-old girl who was abducted and beaten by men trying to force her into marrying one of the men. This happened in Ethiopia. Was found guarded by 3 lions. Now, one thing that's a little more interesting to the story than what it appears on the surface is that the lion is the national symbol of Ethiopia. It appears on the flag, and also the Ethiopian lion. There's some of them that are actually genetically different from the rest of the lions. It's called the Ethiopian lion itself. They have a black mane. Also, they are considered the Lion of Judah, which is a symbol of the Jewish tribe of Judah. And according to the Torah, the tribe consists of the descendants of Judah, the fourth son of Jacob. So it's more interesting than it was just merely lions that protected this Ethiopian girl from the will of religious radicals that wanted to force her into marrying. But it was also more likely that since it occurred in Ethiopia, that it was the Lion of Judah, a Lion of Judah. And this symbology goes back, and it's actually throughout a lot of important families and a lot of important traditions. I don't know where it starts. It could have started from way back. You'll see a lot of artifacts on engravings in walls and of lions. You can also know about the Sphinx, which is in front of the pyramids of Giza. Lion has a lot of symbology going all the way back, and we also, and maybe it's not well known today, but the lion is always considered the king of the jungle, the king. And as the king, he has special rights. I've always respected the cat, and I guess that's maybe why I got 3 small cats, I guess they call them. But but basically in miniature, they are, on the same par and the same awareness of the large cats. But the girl was reportedly repeatedly beaten, and she was found June 9th by the police and relatives on the outskirts of the town, and she was guarded by lions for about a half a day. And then when they came up to pick her up, it was like the lions left almost on cue, like we understand that the girl is going back with her own kind now, and they just disappeared into the woods. So they have a certain awareness, but it also, I think I take this as an omen. I take this as a little bit more. Maybe it's a superstition, but I take it as an omen. And, I actually think that, a lot of people do respect cats in a lot of ways, and actually lions. It's maybe it's just throughout. You see, actually on the internet, the cat is one of the most popular animals. As a matter of fact, this girl finds it so popular she has a cat couch. So that's pretty interesting. But getting back to the basic story, it's like the animals in nature pretty much know justice more than the humans do. To give you an example. And you don't want to piss off an elephant, I can tell you that right now. But to give you an example, squirrels or something would, gather acorns for the winter, correct? But only, they only gather what they need. They don't have some big fat freaking Wall Street squirrel that gathers all the acorns and then tries to sell them back to the other squirrels at a profit and basically starve them to death and work them to death. See, it's a lot different in nature. Only humans do this kind of stuff. Only humans kind of grab everything and then corner the market on it. Animals don't do that. They got actually a better sense of justice in a lot of ways. Even though they got the teeth and they bite each other, but they know how to grow food. But the lion's always been a symbol of justice and royalty. It even goes back to ancient history. I talked about, the Sphinx. But, I find this an interesting story because I take it as an omen as to what's going to happen to the type of people that abduct 12-year-old girls and beat them and think they're going to force her to marry one of them. I think it's an omen as to what's going to happen. You got the wishy-washy Christians, and you got the other ones that are like 13th century warrior monks. And, if anything, if I call myself a Christian, I don't like calling myself a Christian because I don't want to be associated with the wishy-washy. But if I call myself a Christian, it's going to be more in line with the 13th century warrior monk. I don't mess around, you know? Take care of business in the name of Jesus. How's that? Whatever you want to call it. The name of God. I don't care, you know? But, you know, the lion's actually been used also in the Medici family. You'll see that symbology. A lot of people don't realize that's one of very, very powerful family in Italy. And this statue was, and how this was actually shown, where the lion is controlling the globe, is well chosen for a reason. And, you know, a lot of people don't realize, you know, actually I look at this story and I actually see a lot more into it rather than just some animals in the woods protected a girl. It's a little bit more to it than that. And actually, like I said, I see it as something that's an omen that's going to portend the future for those who are delving into unjust political / quote religious movements whereby they beat 12-year-old girls and try to force them to marry them. So, you know, the Medici family is another one that, you know, a lot of people never heard of. Well, I guess maybe they have. It depends on who I am talking to. It's an ancient, it's easy word. It's a common word to me, but, you know, but it's a very ancient, old, strong Italian family. It has a lot more pull in the world than you would think. You know, it's amazing how they always bring up the name the Rothschilds and so many names they have left off, you know, amongst the internet. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that subject because I have delved into it a little bit, but it doesn't seem to, you know, I don't know, that doesn't get around as much. But the other thing is also in England, you know, the symbol of British power, Dio et mon droit, which is mine and God's right. In other words, the divine right of kings. Actually, this would be, you know, uttered or yelled during a time when, say, King Richard was leading his troops in battle at the head of his troops, actually, against the enemy. You know, today, we got leaders today that are basically pale in comparison to leaders that existed in the past. It's a joke what we got today for leaders. But, you know, they use the symbol of the lion. The lion actually has this sense of justice, and I actually look at this story as a little bit deeper because I see it as another thing that's going to portend the end of the political movement wrapped in the drapes of religion that, you know, thinks it's okay to beat 12-year-old girls and force them into submission to marry older men at such a ridiculous age and against her will and all this type of stuff. So I look at this as, you know, an interesting story that these lions, and actually the fact that they were lions in Ethiopia, lions that were, you know, the lions of Judah, which to me even has more sacred meaning. And the way I'm going to see this is that things are going to come around full circles. Once the fake Christians are gone, once the fake Christians disappear into the woodwork, once the fake Christians that are the 501(c)(3)s and they run at the first sign of trouble, and they will actually change their faith at the first sign of trouble, they disappear meld into the dirt for all I care, then you're going to see what's going to happen, because I don't consider myself one of those people at all. You know, it's actually, I look at this as a lion of Judah, of the tribe of Judah, that actually saved a girl from religious radicals of Islam. That's how I look at it. And I say it's a omen for what's going to portend in the future. And what will portend in the future is going to be justice. And it is our divine right. It is our divine right as true warriors for Christ and Judah that we exercise our will over our enemies. So I want to make a little bit more of this story than what the major media makes of it, and put it forth because, you know, I found it a little more interesting than just a nice little story where some animals out in the woods protected a girl, because I understand cats. I consider myself part cat myself in some ways, and because I always respected cats for their cunning and their patience and how they'll sit and lie and wait on the hunt for when the time is right, and when they'll bolt out and hit the prey, all four paws freaking going like mad hell, and the teeth hitting the jugular. That's my method. But until such time, cool and smooth as anything else. That's the way it goes. But it is our divine right to defeat the enemy. I'll leave you with that thought, because this story is a lot more than just some lions in the woods helping out a 12-year-old girl. This is actually the Lion of Judah doing justice.